How galaxies formed. Galaxies are vast collections of stars, gas, dust, and dark matter bound together by gravity. Our own galaxy, the Milky Way, is just one of more than 2 trillion galaxies in the observable universe. Understanding how galaxies formed helps us learn about the history of the cosmos, from the very beginning after the Big Bang to the complex structures we see today. The beginning. The Big Bang. The story of galaxies begins about 13.8 billion years ago with the Big Bang. At that moment, the universe was extremely hot, dense, and filled with a nearly uniform mixture of particles and energy. As the universe expanded, it cooled down. After about 380,000 years, atoms of hydrogen and helium formed, and light was finally able to travel freely through space. This is what we now detect as the cosmic microwave background radiation. Even though the early universe looked smooth, it wasn't perfectly uniform. There were tiny irregularities, small regions that were slightly denser than others. These fluctuations, caused by quantum effects in the early universe, became the seeds of all future structure, including galaxies. Gravity takes over. Over time, gravity began to pull matter together into those slightly denser regions. These regions grew in size and mass, forming what we call dark matter halos. Dark matter doesn't emit or absorb light, but it makes up about 85% of all matter in the universe and plays a key role in galaxy formation. Inside these dark matter halos, ordinary matter, mainly hydrogen and helium gas, began to fall inward under gravity's pull. As the gas collected, it heated up and eventually began to cool and condense, forming the first stars. The first stars, known as population 3 stars, were much more massive and hotter than most stars today. They lived short lives, only a few million years, before exploding as supernova. These explosions enriched the surrounding gas with heavier elements, like carbon and oxygen, which later became part of new generations of stars and planets. Groups of these early stars formed small structures called proto-galaxies, the ancestors of modern galaxies. Over hundreds of millions of years, proto-galaxies merged together through collisions and gravitational attraction, growing into larger and more complex galaxies. Spiral galaxies, like the Milky Way, formed when gas continued to cool and flatten into a rotating disk. Elliptical galaxies formed mostly from violent mergers that disrupted the disk structure. Irregular galaxies are smaller systems that often result from interactions or incomplete formation. Supermassive black holes and galaxy evolution. At the centers of most galaxies lie supermassive black holes, with masses millions or even billions of times that of the Sun. These black holes grew along with their galaxies. When matter falls into them, it releases enormous amounts of energy, sometimes creating bright objects called quasars. Quasars and other active galactic nuclei can influence how gas moves and forms stars within their galaxies. The universe today. Over billions of years, galaxies have continued to evolve. Star formation in most large galaxies has slowed down, while smaller galaxies and dwarf galaxies still form new stars today. Galaxies are not isolated. They exist in groups and clusters connected by vast filaments of dark matter and gas, forming what we call the cosmic web. Astronomers use powerful telescopes like the Hubble Space Telescope and James Webb Space Telescope to look deep into space and back in time. By observing very distant galaxies, we can see what they looked like only a few 100 million years after the Big Bang, giving us clues about how the first galaxies formed and evolved. Conclusion. The formation of galaxies is one of the most fascinating stories in the history of the universe. It's a process driven by gravity, dark matter, and the life and death of stars. From tiny fluctuations in the early universe, galaxies grew into magnificent cosmic cities of stars, planets, and black holes, including our own Milky Way, the home of our solar system.